Well, hello, 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 hello. I'm surprised I can keep hitting that note all the time. Good evening, everybody. I hope you've had a terrific day. Today was beautiful again outside in Maryland. Just a great day for the weather. And so glad we did not get the Hurricane Faye that was supposed to come up the coast this week. At any rate, what I wanted to talk about tonight is the word synchronicity. Just want to make sure I said it right. We all have things that seem like coincidences that keep happening to us, whether it's meeting somebody at 11 o'clock, 11:11, or 1:01, something like that, 12:15 maybe. And I just think that once we relax a little bit and realize, well, gee whiz, maybe we were really supposed to meet. And I read a story yesterday about a dog who had gotten lost. And some people stopped to pick him up because they saw he was by himself and he was by the roadside, and they didn't want the dog to get hit by a car. So they picked him up, and they took him to a vet to see if he was chipped and all that, and he wasn't. So the dog was okay as far as being sick or anything. He wasn't sick. But the people who had lost him were really sad because they lost their dog. And that can happen to any pet. They get out the door and they're just going down the street, taking off. So the person that lost the dog, her husband had died recently, and the dog was actually his. Well, they saw the notice online, and they called and said, thank you, we'd really like to have the dog back. So they gave the dog back. And the lady called him back about a couple weeks later and said, well, the dog was actually my husband's, and I just can't take care of it anymore. So the people who had originally picked up the dog found out that they had a new family dog. So they went and picked up the dog again. And it all wound up fine. And the dog had a new happy family. So, people, that's a synchronicity. That's a good example of it. That things are meant to happen for some reason. We don't always understand why. We've had something very similar to that happen with my family this week, because of 4th of July and all that, and, dog getting out. But the synchronicity part hasn't happened yet. I don't know if it's going to or not. So, synchronicity leaves us with a curious sense of that maybe we should pay attention to a few more things that seem to happen like that. And I think it all happens when you finally relax and whatever has been worrying you, you've let go of. And you're more able to focus on the things that are good for you, that are happening in your life or are about to happen in your life. Now, there's some people who just have a rough time. There really are. But that's not everybody. We can create our own future by changing our emotional state sometimes. And by that I mean thinking about more positive things in your life. You don't have to be specific, just Write down 10 things that are positive in your life right now. And then after you do that, you want to look at changing some things in your life that will help you ease into that change. Whether it's the way you live, your living habits of taking care of your place, whether that's dishes in the sink or laundry that needs to be done or cleaning that needs to be done and you just haven't done because you haven't felt like it. Well, maybe it's time to rethink that and think, well, maybe I should feel like it because it'll make me feel a lot better because the house will be less of a mess. And then I can focus more on other things that I want to be happy about. Now, that could be making friends, new friends. It could be about finding a new job. It could be about 1,000 other things that you all know what you're going through. I don't know all of them. I couldn't possibly know everything. And keep in mind that for yourself too. You can't possibly know everything. What a burden that would be, wouldn't it? I mean, just think. If you knew everything that there was to know, how would you behave? Would you behave in a more positive manner? Knowing that being positive helps you get more out of life, and knowing that helping other people helps you get more out of life, and just deciding in a more positive vein that you're going to do more to help others the rest of the year. Now, this is July. Today is, I believe, the 13th. And there's no reason why you can't make a promise to yourself. You don't have to tell anybody about it. Just make it to yourself. But put it up somewhere in your house where you will be reminded of it. I'm going to do this month. And if you want to, parse it out on a monthly basis so that, you're not burdening yourself with trying to change things too fast, too quickly. Because when we do that, it kind of messes our mind up because it makes us try to do too much when sometimes we just can't, or we don't want to, or we haven't figured out how to do that yet. Every day, think about doing something positive about your surroundings. Let me check this. Wash your clothes, clean your kitchen, clean your rugs, pick up your clothes, your shoes, things like that. Pick up the dog's toys, or try to teach the dog to pick them up and put them in a box. You can always try that too. Get some treats and encourage the dog to pick the treats up and put them in a box. Give him a treat or half of a treat each time he does that right or she does it right. Because as I say all the time, your pets are important and you need to pay attention to them too. We get kind of acclimated to having them around, and we take them for granted sometimes when we really shouldn't. Because they're there all the time for us. And they're there to give us comfort all the time. So take some time to brush your pets. Take some time to be with them, like in a massage or something like that, so that they know you really care. And the same goes for your children. You want to, and I don't care how old they are. I don't care if they're a year old or 10 years old. Make a point of being nicer to them, because in some aspects, in this country right now, in the United States, life is harsh for a lot of people. So I want you to think about being nicer to your family, whether it's your children or your spouse, a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, maybe one of your elderly relatives. Just try to be nicer. What's it going to hurt? Seriously, what's it going to hurt to be nicer to somebody that maybe you've been a little short-tempered with for a while? Because let me tell you, the coronavirus can make you very short-tempered. And I want you all to think about, always, when you're outside, wear a mask. All these new people who have caught the coronavirus, they went to Florida, they went to Georgia, they went out to the beaches and did dumb things by being around too many people at the same time. And the numbers have increased a lot because they did that, and they caught the coronavirus. So listen, people. Listen to what our doctors are telling us. Wear a mask unless you want to die. I don't think you want to die tomorrow, do you? Or in the next year? Not even. So don't take your lives for granted. Because there are people who are out there who love you and who cherish you and who don't want you to die. Now you may have some weird relationship where somebody tells you they don't care, but that's usually a lie. You have to shrug that off and say, yes, you do, because I love you. That's all you got to say. Is, oh, yes, you do, because I love you and I know where your heart is. Okay? Try that next time somebody gives you a hard time about how much you love them or they love you. It's not an argument that's easy to handle or a conversation that's easy to handle. But just remember to say that love is the ultimate answer. I want love in my life. I need love in my life. We all need love in our life. So just say okay. Okay. And then decide what you want to do about it. You don't have to have all the answers. Like I said, nobody's got all the answers. So, back to synchronicity. One of the things I want you to think about is I want you to think about really relaxing. And by really relaxing, I mean take a period of 2, even 3 weeks and change your personal habits. Take a bath for 3 weeks, not straight. Come on. I want you to put some baking soda in that, about a cup, and sit in the tub for about 15-20 minutes a day. I don't care whether it's evening or morning to get your day started. You know, a lot of people are semi-retired now. They're not working as much as they used to. But be kinder to yourself. Because if you don't, who's going to? I mean, there are many of us who have partners and wives and husbands and all that, and, you know. But we need to think about ourselves once in a while. Not all the time now, just once in a while. But at least for the next 3 weeks. And, you know, everybody believes in something different. Some people believe in God, some people believe in Joshua and a lot of other things. The Jesuits, the monks believe in different things. But you know what, I kind of think that sometimes God has a hard job because he's got all these gabillions of people on the earth here that he's got to worry about. So when I was going through my troubles last year, you know what I'd do? I would just stop and pray to all the gods of the universe. I mean, since man has been alive, they've always prayed to the gods in the universe, haven't they? Sometimes they named them, sometimes they didn't. Sometimes they said, just to all the gods out there, I'm sending you this message. Be good to me. I've been good to you. I treat others with respect. I don't say bad things about people, ever. I don't yell or curse or swear at anybody. I try to think rationally. I try not to get into any arguments with anyone and give them their space to say what they have to say. Now, any of us, we don't always have to agree with each other. And that's okay, because we just don't have to agree with each other all the time. Be a nice world, but you need to be careful what you're agreeing to. So think about that in the next 2-3 weeks. Think about some of the things that have caused you problems in the past and how you would like to change them. Maybe you'd like to say you're sorry for the way you behaved or the things you thought. We can do that. There's no reason why we can't apologize once in a while. After all, nobody's perfect. None of us. And we should know that. So when you're thinking about synchronicity, like the 11:11 time that you see on a clock, or the 6th day that keeps happening of the month, you have something special happens on the 6th day, then it happens on the 12th day, then the 18th, and then the 24th. So write those numbers down and think about that kind of stuff. And think what important things have happened to you on certain dates. That's all part of synchronicity. And, we make our own lives. And we make our own problems sometimes. And we're going to do that because we're human. Because there isn't anybody perfect. Not even me. So when you're thinking about something that somebody has come and told you, maybe you're not sure if it's really true or not. We all need compassion at times. We all need to slow down and rethink what's happening in our lives at different stages in our life. Maybe a relative is sick, has gotten sick with the coronavirus, or sick in another way. Maybe a pregnant person you know is having some problems. Those are serious things. And I urge you, don't take them lightly. Because, as you know, we only live one time. So if you have things that are worrying you about something that you said to somebody in the past 6 months that maybe you've rethought and thought, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that, call them up. And I know it's easy for me to say, just call them up and talk to them, but if you're going to get over something or get through something with somebody who's either your best friend or maybe a new best friend that you'd like to cultivate more, then we need to think about our current relationships and also ones in the past. Because every day is different and every day is important for somebody. Because we've got so many people on this earth. Everybody's important. They may not always be important to you, but they're important to their family members. And they're important to their friends. Maybe it's somebody you've seen in church. Maybe you haven't been in church for a while. One of the things a lot of churches are doing right now is doing video broadcasts, live videos. And I think that's good because it keeps people in touch. And with some of the technology that we have now, We could put people in a chat room that they can talk together, maybe 4 or 5 or 10 people. Depends on what kind of technology you're working with. But you could do that. You know, if you have a child that you're missing a lot and you don't get to see them as much, do a face call. Yeah, I mean, you do it with your friends, right? You do it with your older friends. Do it with your relatives and people you have not seen for a while. It can make things a lot easier. I mean, we think about doing it for business and for things that we have to get done in our lives, but we don't always carry that forward into the rest of our lives. And really would like to see you all do that, because it can help ease burdens, it can ease worry, it can ease fears. Because we all should, here's a should for you, we all should do that more often. Just like you've probably told your kids or your relatives, you should be doing this and that, not the other. Well, don't nag them about it too much, or they won't ever want to do it. And everybody's like that. You know, you don't want to nag somebody too much because it doesn't make things any better. It just doesn't. I don't care who you are or what you're talking about. Don't nag your friends. Don't nag your relatives, because it's a very unfruitful activity. And I'd like to see everybody be more fruitful. I don't necessarily mean having kids. You know, you can be fruitful in other ways. You'll have to decide that one for yourselves. So, in manifesting things, what we really need to do is to kind of clear the decks on our heads. Clear the decks of worry that's not going to get us anywhere. You know, we all have a certain amount of worry in our lives, and we kind of leave it there. We shouldn't do that. We should really try to get rid of worry. I don't care what the worry's about. You can't spend the rest of your life worrying about something that, number one, you can't control. Number two is probably none of your business. Number three is you're not really involved, so why are you worried about it? Unless you just happen to be one of those, what's the word I want, helpful Hannahs? Trying to help out in every situation you can, and you get too involved, and you get crazy about it. We need to stop doing that. I don't care whether you're a man or woman, we all do it. So stop being a horrible Hannah, a worrying Hannah. So with that, I'd like you to really think about that and you know, see where you are with the different relationships that you've got going on in your life. I'm going to wave at a couple of people here. Hi, Joe. Hi, Shelley. Glad to see you. And I know there are people off on the side who don't always put their name on the list, but that's okay. I know you're there. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And one of the things I would like to see in our world as we live it day to day is more being kind to each other, taking a moment to be kind to a stranger. I've noticed in the last 6 months, now I haven't gone out as much as I used to because of the coronavirus, I'll be honest. I wear my mask all the time. More of the young black men that I personally have seen going in and out of stores and things like that, they're holding the door for me. They're saying hello or good morning or good afternoon or hi there. And that is a refreshing attitude. I noticed more of the black population in this area, in the Baltimore region and Annapolis area, seem to be making an effort to just be more pleasant. And I think that's great. And I noticed that it started changing about a year ago. So I'm glad to see it continuing, especially with all of the police happenings between the races and the demonstrations and the bad things that have been happening. At least some things are changing for the better. I've even had people at the grocery store. Now, I'm old, but I'm not that old. Do I really need help at the grocery store? You may think different. That's okay. But people in the grocery stores seem to be being nicer to people. So I want you to think about it. If you go into a grocery store or you're in the post office, I hope they don't close. If there's a line, just turn around and say hi and wave to people. Hi, I'm Joe. Hi, I'm Shelley. Hope you all are having a good day. And you will find that people will actually respond to you. And they will sometimes start talking with other people in line. Because we need that. We need the back and forth. I think it's going to make a better community all the way around if we could start doing more of that. Because we're not going to be able to get back to church very soon. I see the church I'm going to probably not until the new year. They're doing pretty well with the online videos. And, we're creating a place where we can engage with our church members, that we don't have to actually be there, but we can have a conversation with each other. And I think that's really good. So think about that, about, being more attuned to the other people who you really are around, even when you're in a line somewhere. Because you're all in that particular store for a reason. You're in there to buy something, whether it's food or shoes or stamps or whatever, And I think this coronavirus has made some people think more about their interconnections and that they would like to have more friends. Because we don't realize sometimes how much we cut ourselves off from a multitude of people when we don't really need to. It's like dealing with a new boss and wanting to be personable and not wanting to push buttons or do the wrong thing, or it's all a learning exercise, the way we're living now. It really is. And it just makes sense to try and pay attention to the things that we're going through in every aspect of our lives. And if you're single, it's even harder. I mean, how are you going to go on a date? It's kind of hard to go on a date these days. But again, you could go on a video date. You keep laughing, and but I'm telling you, it's one of the best ways to go, because you don't have to worry about being harassed, because you're not that close to each other to harass each other. And I've always thought that people who didn't get to know each other for like at least 2 years before you got married or got hitched or whatever you want to call it, do yourselves a disservice, because you don't know each other well enough to say, I do, lots of times. And sometimes we just jump the gun. So, because let's look at right now. We found out about this virus in, let's say, January or March. At least the country did. This has put a damper on all kinds of new friendships, new relationships, because you just can't get together the way we used to. And it's kind of good in some respects because we have less STDs, less sexual harassment, hopefully, and just less heartache that you don't really have to have anyhow. So there are pluses to this at the moment. It's going to put a kibosh on a lot of sexual activity that probably should not happen in the first place because we don't know each other well enough. It may make you rethink what you're doing. And that's to each his own. I don't care. I don't care if somebody's gay or straight or, bisexual. I don't care. That's okay. That's everybody's decision in life. It's a personal decision. And it should only be the people's business that it's between. You don't have to go talking about this one and that one and the other one. That doesn't build community. That tears down community. If one thing makes one person happy and 2, 3, 4, 10 people happy, fine. As long as you're not endangering somebody else. And I say that with all honesty and all openness. So we need to think about our tolerances. We need to think about our kindnesses. Our American Indians are still being brutalized, although they did get some rather good news last week. One of the federal judges said that the pipeline up there where the Sioux are, and I forget the name of the area, but you all probably know what I'm talking about. They had been told that the oil company won the pipeline deal. Well, they didn't, because the new federal judge says, no, you didn't win it. But the oil companies are not listening. I heard yesterday that they're starting back up with whatever they can do until they're stopped again. So, sometimes I wish I was of a different persuasion in that I could do angry things that religion do to some people. But it just get me in trouble, and I know it. So there's no sense in going there. But we all have things that we wish we could do and not get caught at doing. It would probably make the world a lot better, a safer place for many of us. Racism has no place in America. It really doesn't. The white religious people came in and beat down the Indians and took their properties away from them and did bad things, and I don't know if they will ever get reparations for the injustices against them or the injustices against slaves or the injustices against women in their bodies and men in their bodies, because they get hurt just as much as the rest of us do. Everybody's got a heart. And we need to listen to those hearts. We may not agree with their heart, but it's not our job to agree with their heart. It's for them to deal with their heart and what they feel is right and what they feel is wrong. It's not our business. Stay out of other people's business. Say, okay, well, are you happy? Be happy. If you're not, and then you need to change up. And sometimes, you've had a 20-year relationship or whatever, and you're at your wit's end, and you're thinking, should I switch this up or should I not? But that's everybody's individual choice. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave you to think about the next 3 weeks of changing up your habits. Taking a bath every day, taking your time, put Epsom salts in it, put baking soda in it. Your skin feels so soft with baking soda. You wouldn't believe it, honest to goodness. And if you have any things growing on your feet or something like that, you know, use vinegar and water. And you can add baking soda to it if you like. It works. Got a little toenail problem there. So I'm just saying, you know, think about things a little differently and take your time. Whether you're going to have a cup of tea while you're sitting in that hot tub, or you got a couple candles lit, or you've got nice music playing, you deserve it. Take a break. Don't let all of the busyness and the craziness of what's going on right now in the outer world get to you and disturb your sanity. Because we're still going to need our sanity. You know, Christmas is coming. We don't know if our kids are going to be able to go back in school or not. A lot of them are going to be working online. You know, we've got to worry about the kids that don't have older sisters and brothers, and whose parents are trying to work and trying to make the bills and pay the bills. We're going to have to worry about that. Maybe not you and me, but somebody's going to have to worry about it and try to take care of it in the right way. I just, you know, would like to think that by the time November comes around, we'll just change our voting habits. Not like we did last time. We had changed it just the opposite this time it's come up, especially in the States. But think about doing the best thing for everybody. Now, you don't have to instigate it. You know, you can think about it, and you can plan it if you want and have other people help you plan it. But it's going to take a lot of people, a lot of time, a lot of kindness, a lot of tenderness to be able to change the world as we know it today. But that's what I'm calling for. I'm calling for kindness and love and patience. But if somebody gets up in your face, don't hesitate to tell them to get out of your face. Nobody has to take bullshit. Nobody. And don't you give any bullshit out either. So, with that, folks, I'm going to say goodnight. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.